Hey guys, Craig with Capella Mortgage here. I had a scenario come up this weekend while I was hanging out with some family members on appraisals. They were looking at purchasing a property and they needed to get an appraisal, and there were a little bit of intricacies in it that I thought would be relevant and hopefully bring you guys some value. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. What is an appraisal exactly? An appraisal is a third-party independent valuation from a certified USPAP appraiser. When you make an offer on a property, you're normally going to have an appraisal contingency. Okay, they can vary between 10 and 20 days. That's about average industry standard, between 10 and 20 days. So that way you have enough time to get an appraisal and get that back, review it, and know that you're getting a good deal. Some of the things that appraisers look for when they're valuing a property are properties that have sold recently within that market area. Normally that's within 6 months. You don't want to go longer than 6 months out unless there's nothing that has sold in that market for the prior 6 months. If there hasn't been any sales that are comparable to your property within the last 6 months, they will extend it up to a year, but typically they don't want to go further than that, and they only go up to a year if they can't find any properties that have sold within the last 6 months. Another thing that they look for is the comparable properties. Is it similar square footage, similar beds, similar baths? Is the lot size similar? That doesn't play a huge factor in it, but they're wanting to find a property that's as close to the one that you're purchasing to give you the best opinion they can. There's all sorts of other mathematical equations that they do when they're valuing a property. We don't need to get into all of that here. Just so you know, they look at when the properties have sold, how far they are away, and do they compare to the property that you're purchasing. So what happens if the appraisal comes in low? Well, a few things actually. One, the first thing is you can renegotiate the purchase price. If you're in contract for $200,000 and the appraisal comes in at $150,000, you can go to the seller and say, hey, I have a difference here. The appraisal came in low. I want to pay what the appraisal value says and not the purchase price. Now, the seller can either say yes or no. And if they say no, that's fine. You can then walk away. That's another option that you have. If it's within your appraisal contingency, you can walk away. If they agree to that new price, then you get a purchase addendum and you send that to your lender and the title company. And then we readjust our numbers and our loan programs based on this new purchase agreement or this new addendum. The last thing that can happen, the buyer can agree to pay the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price. I only see that if they're fairly close. Let's say the purchase price is $200,000 and the appraisal comes in at $190,000. Then the buyer can say, okay, I'm going to keep this property for a while. I'm okay with paying the additional $10,000. So I'm just going to keep the purchase price the way it is. What happens if the appraisal is high? Well, this is actually a good thing for the buyer, whereas the appraisal is a tool for the buyer to know they're getting a good deal. However, on the lender side of it, it's going to be either the purchase price or the appraisal, whichever is lower. If you're getting value from these episodes, please like and subscribe. Also click that notification bell so you don't ever miss an episode that we put out. Let me know what you guys want to hear about in the comments below. That way I can bring you guys the most relevant and valuable content that I can. If you're looking at purchasing an investment property, I'll link to a video. That way you can see what I do when I go to make a decision on buying a property. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.